Well, hello again. I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
Welcome to the Sonic Boomers podcast, program number 76. And we thought that this week, after making our Jeopardy picks for the new host on episode 75, we thought we were going to have some fancy explaining to do.
We thought we were going to do a podcast with egg on our face explaining, like, how could we have been so wrong when they announced Mike Richards as the host?
No sooner did we finish recording that show.
Right, and putting it out.
Like an hour later, they announce that Mike Richards is going to be the new host of Jeopardy.
And he was not, if you recall, he was not on either one of our picks. Not that we didn't like him, but we didn't think he stood a chance because of his previous commitments and his commitments as producer of the show.
I thought that as a fill-in host, he was competent. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think that he brought a hell of a lot to the table other than competent hosting.
Right.
But remember, too, that I also said that we had yet to see Joe Buck.
Right.
And I was like, well,
who cares?
I don't expect to see much out of Joe Buck. Well,
we loved him too.
Joe Buck, I owe you an apology because I called you out way too early.
Yeah. I
thought Joe Buck might have been the best host out of all of them.
No,
I really liked
him a lot, but
we also liked David Faber.
Yeah, I liked David just a tad more than Joe.
Did you really? Because
yeah.
I think that David Faber was a little more Alex-like.
Right.
But Joe Buck brought some fun to the podium.
Yeah.
Buzzy, I like,
Yeah.
My three picks are still, I would say, in order. Mm-hmm. Joe Buck, David Faber, and Buzzy. And Buzzy's a little on the arrogant side, a little on the brash side. I like it.
Yeah.
It works for him when he does the little brush off the shoulder.
Right.
It's fun.
But we went through all this, and we were confident in our picks that out of the three that each of us picked, we were sure that at least one of them was going to be it.
And they come up with Mike Richards. And then, all of a sudden, it was Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik. And then, all of a sudden, Mike Richards is out, and Mayim Bialik is going to host for 3 weeks, and we're going to have another round of guest hosts. Can I ask you something over there at Sony Television? How the hell do you take a successful franchise like Jeopardy, one of the most successful television shows of all time, one of the most beloved game shows of all time, hosted by Alex Trebek for like 35 years, and Alex is near sainthood, for heaven's sake, amongst Jeopardy fans, and you turn this show in a space of a few months into a friggin' dumpster fire. A dumpster fire, okay? How do you do this? How do you do this?
I don't know. And this is, we have to kind of apologize. We have not put out a podcast for 2 weeks because all this stuff was happening. And we don't want to keep belaboring the Jeopardy topic. So we want this to be kind of the last one. But in the interim, all this stuff was going on. First we put our picks. Okay, that's good. Then they come out with none of our picks. And then there's drama, and he's taken off. And then, like you said, Mayim's put on. And right now we're right back to square one, really.
They're talking about another dog and pony show. Listen, Sony, this isn't hard. This really isn't hard. You had, let's look at all the picks. You had Ken Jennings, you had Mike Richards, Katie Couric, Dr. Oz, Aaron Rodgers, Anderson Cooper, Bill Whitaker, Buzzy Cohen, Mayim Bialik, Savannah Guthrie, Sanjay Gupta, George Stephanopoulos, Robin Roberts, LeVar Burton, David Faber, and Joe Buck. Certainly out of this list, Sony, there has to be somebody that you can get. and not put Jeopardy fans through another friggin' dog and pony show of how many more hosts?
You would hope.
I don't understand this.
And, I'm going back, and I know you're not the biggest Ken Jennings fan, but I think he is the most palatable one that everybody could get on board with. I don't necessarily think he's the best host as far as his speech and his voice and his appearance, but he is universally recognized. When you say Jeopardy,
yeah,
you think Alex Trebek, and the next name that comes to mind is Ken Jennings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just do it.
And I feel, before I was a little more hardline, not Ken Jennings, for the reasons that I gave.
Right.
Now I read that when Ken Jennings was going in to shoot that first show that he was hosting, Alex left him his cufflinks.
Aw.
In the dressing room. There was a box there for him from Alex with Alex's cufflinks.
Aw.
And a note from Mrs. Trebek, from Jean. And to me, that says, I think maybe Alex wanted Ken to get it. And there was a phone conversation, apparently, between Alex and Ken Jennings just a couple of days before Alex passed to talk about the show. So for that reason, and Ken's deep affection for the show and deep affection for Alex, if he gets it, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
It's not my first pick. My first pick is Joe Buck. But I could be fine with it. And I think a lot of the Jeopardy fans are saying, can we get on with this?
Yeah, and I think Ken is the one that everybody could be fine with.
Yeah.
It may or may not have been their first pick, but almost universally, everybody says, if it's going to be anybody, do Ken, and let's move on with it.
Sony, you have a dumpster fire in Culver City. And I think this thing went off the rails when corporate executives got involved. Because I think when Alex was there, I think Alex had enough clout that if the corporate guys wanted to get involved, he would say, oh, no, you're not. It could be like, I could see one of these corporate executives saying, well, Alex, listen, we have a great idea. We were kicking this around at the board meeting last week, and we're thinking about maybe let's do a show with hot models buxom models in halter tops. It'll be a hoot. Get it? What do you think, Alex? It ought to be a ratings bonanza. And Alex would have had, I think, the clout to say,
and the class.
over my friggin' dead body, are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Well, Alex is gone now.
Right.
So the inmates are in charge of the asylum. And Mike Richards, if you read the article about Mike Richards appearing in theringer.com, dated August 8th, 2021. The article is by Claire McNair, and it's called A Smile with Sharp Teeth. And she has all of the audio excerpts from the podcast that Mike Richards was on that got him bounced off as the new Jeopardy host. Comments that he made about misogynistic comments about women, comments about the homeless, which, was very near and dear to Alex.
Sure.
And when this stuff got out in public, Mike Richards was out.
Yeah.
So if you want to see that, look for it at theringer.com, 8/18/2021. The article is called A Smile with Sharp Teeth. And it is a real expose on Mike Richards and why he's not going to be the Jeopardy host.
But, just putting this into perspective, Alex died November 2020.
Right.
We are over a year, or just coming up on a year, since his death.
Yeah.
They had all this time to plan. They went through the guest hosts for months and months and months of shows that were taped. And none of this comes out. And now all of a sudden, they pick Mike Richards and ta-da! All of a sudden, this story breaks. Where was this information a year ago?
It was another journalist who who broke the story.
Yeah.
Who found these clips.
But I mean, why wasn't he vetted more thoroughly?
See, when Mike Richards came in as host for that couple of week period that he did, people liked him initially.
Right.
And I think the image was, well, the COVID is going on and they're having a hard time lining up people to do the show. And Mike is going to do it for a few weeks until Katie Couric can get there and blah, blah, blah. Now it's coming out that Mike Richards maybe wanted to be the host all along. And that this long list of hosts was just a dog and pony show. Because all of a sudden it's like, Mike Richards is a guest host for 2 weeks. Oh, and let's see, he's involved in the selection of the new host, and he's the executive producer of the show. And, we have a new host, and it's me. Well, it didn't play well.
No.
It didn't play well.
Definitely not.
Because all of a sudden, if you're a Jeopardy fan, you're thinking, oh, the fix is in.
Yeah, and you think, like, why, if it was going to be him all along,
and why didn't you just do it and get it the hell over with?
Why this whole thing?
And now you want to put us through another dog and pony show.
Now, curiously, I don't know what their plan is for this new round of guest hosts.
I don't think they know what their plan is.
I mean, are they going to recycle some of the ones from their original list, or maybe give some of the people that only had the 1 week stint an extra week? I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but I'm just curious if they're going to pick totally new ones, and not necessarily with an eye for a permanent host, but just as a guest host. I'm thinking then I would like to see people like Jeopardy James. I'd like to see Austin Rogers.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Brad Rutter, and some people like that have a shot at it. I do not think that they should have the gig long term. But I think if you're going to just do ratings builders and just have a fun time during this interim period again, I'd like to see them give some people like that a shot.
But you had another idea that you and I kicked around over lunch before we started recording.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure if it's really a good idea or not.
Put it out there.
But I thought, what if, just crazy idea, what if they don't name anybody? What if they continue with the host this week will be blah, 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 and just go on from there? And each week there would be a little bit of excitement built up over who it's going to be, how they're going to do, get a little buzz going, and, see how it runs. My feeling, though, is that would be logistically a nightmare. As far as trying to line up that many people, get them trained, get them comfortable with the process and all like that.
All of the editing that has to be done, because as we know, some of them, like David Faber, were very smooth,
right,
and required almost no post-production. Others required a lot more post-production.
So I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that it probably really would work, but I'm just thinking of, trying to think out of the box. And I just wonder if that would be
I could see one of the big shots. I could see one of the suits saying that. I have an idea. Listen. Outside of my great idea about the girls in the halter tops on the show, here's another idea, fellas. Let's fly this up the flagpole and see who salutes it. What if we don't have a host, huh? What if we don't have a permanent host and we have like a guest host every week, huh? Well, there's another ratings bonanza, boys. I could see somebody saying that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the way to go.
I don't
either. I think
that
we fans deserve a permanent host. And look, you're not going to find somebody who is agreeable to all, no matter who.
Right.
No matter who. You could have Jesus Christ as the new host of the show, and somebody, I don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't like him. It's like, it's going to happen. But Ken Jennings, to go along with you, he's kind of the guy that's almost acceptable to everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best guy, but the guy who is acceptable to the most number of people.
Yeah.
Now, we also had a message from Superfan, Joe Caroselli.
Yes.
And Joe had 3 picks that he had. And I think it was his first pick was Ken Jennings. Mm-hmm. I think the second one was Buzzy.
I think so.
And then the third pick, I've got to play this excerpt from Joe's message to us. Wait till you hear this.
And here's my third pick, and both of you are going to go, what? You're going to say it out loud. Ready? You're probably I'm hinting, yep, LeVar Burton, I think has a chance at it. I'm not saying he's my favorite.
What?
No,
I'm not saying I even like
Joe,
him.
No,
Joe,
okay?
no.
No. No. No. LeVar Burton, look, as I said before, he's probably a hell of a nice guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I never met the guy. Frankly, I wouldn't know him if I tripped over him. You know, I remember him from Star Trek, and that's it.
Right.
You know,
if he's not wearing those funny glasses, you won't know who he is.
Yeah. Without the glasses, I don't know him. But he was a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And he didn't get better as the week went on. And yet there is this groundswell out there on the fan pages. LeVar Burton. You should give it to LeVar Burton. Why don't they give it to LeVar Burton? Well, one of you please tell me what the hell it is that you are so crazy about with LeVar Burton. Will you please tell me that? Because I thought the guy was a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
And just, will you explain that to me? The question is about the rotating hosts. Just to go back to that. You have to say, is Jeopardy strong enough to be bulletproof? I mean, right now, Sony is pretty damn close to crashing the plane. Mm-hmm. And you have to say, is the show bulletproof? Is the game strong enough? Is the dedication of the viewers strong enough to make the show bulletproof?
I don't think anything is bulletproof, but I think it is pretty strong. I mean, you know, the show is the show, and I know for me and for us when we're watching, we're getting into the show. We're calling out our answers, trying to beat the contestants, seeing how we do, staked up against, you know, super contestants like Ken Jennings or like Matt that's on now. You know, that's the fun of it for us.
Yeah.
And I think it's the fun of it for a lot of listeners. And it really almost doesn't matter who the host is, but you still want somebody that's going to move the game along, give it the dignity it deserves, not dumb it down.
That's what scares me
and turn it into
more
a
than
shit
anything.
show. You know,
That's what scares me more than anything. One of the suits deciding, well, let's go for a broader appeal, because Jeopardy, let's face it, there's an intellectual appeal to it.
Absolutely.
Beyond game show. It's a classier show. Mm-hmm. And I can see one of the suits saying, let's dumb it down.
Oh, yeah, let's have a category of, you know, boobs or something.
Well, that would be if you put Steve Harvey on as the host. Because didn't somebody say, though, why don't they try Steve Harvey?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm your man, Steve Harvey. Hey, welcome to Jeopardy. Here's our categories. Booty call. You know, that's what would happen, I think, if you put Steve Harvey in there.
Yeah.
Because I think he's ruined Family Feud.
Well, I think he's good on. He's the appropriate kind of host.
But they
for Family
ruined
Feud.
that show, though.
But they did bring it down a million notches.
Yeah.
With
With
all the double entendres and stuff. And I'm not a prude. I'm not saying it because I'm a prude. I'm just saying I think, you know, that certain shows that have been on for a long time, they deserve a little dignity.
Yeah, and Jeopardy does. If any show does, Jeopardy does. And I think that, you know, even entertaining Steve Harvey, suggesting it is, no, don't. No.
You know who somebody suggested that, and I thought it might not be a bad idea. I'm not sure what the guy's name is, but you know, like how they have like those clues where they have like, there's a guy and a girl and they're usually out in the field somewhere and they do a clue from, you know, like the Smithsonian, or they'll do a clue.
Yeah, they have the Clue Crew.
The Clue Crew. The guy that's on the Clue Crew. Mm-hmm. I don't know what his name is. Somebody said, why don't you give him a shot at it?
Give all of them a shot at it.
But I think he's got the gravitas to pull it off.
Gravitas.
Ooh. Well, after my
Getting
grammar
fa-
mistake
getting
last
fancy.
week, that was called to mind. Gravitas.
No, I can see that happening.
Yeah, I think that might be a cool substitute. I don't know. Somebody else had said, why don't we pick somebody that nobody knows and then nobody can bitch?
Somebody will bitch. Somebody will not
where did they
like
get that guy
something
from?
about somebody.
I think Pete Torriello ought to do it myself.
No, don't even go there. Don't even go there. No. Would be great to do, and I certainly could use the paycheck, but no, that's no. You know what? I would like to be the announcer.
You'd like to be Johnny
I
Gilbert?
would like to do. God bless Johnny Gilbert. He's like 94 years old, and he sounds tremendous.
great.
He sounds tremendous. But one day, look, let's face it, at 94, one of these days that seat's going to be open,
Right.
and that is a job that I would love to do. I don't like being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I'd rather be off camera
Yeah.
and be the announcer guy.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Okay.
So, I'll leave you my my phone number at the end of the show there, Sony. Well, no, Sony isn't going to like me now because I've been
I was going to say, you've been
beating up on
trashing
him.
them. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm not going to get that job, am I? So, we want to see this come to an end.
Yeah.
We really want to see this come to an end. And you really have taken something that should have been a simple solution.
Right.
Do your dog and pony show. Bring out your whatever it was, 16 hosts, or whatever was that they did. Pick one. Okay, that one blew up in your... Pick another and be done.
Yeah.
Pick another and be done. They said, well, Mike Richards is out, so Mayim will do it for 3 weeks because she's doing her TV show. What is it? Cat something? We watched it once and we were like...
We didn't like it.
We didn't like it. I love Mayim, but the show is... I think it's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a dog.
It's a cat.
So, yeah. So maybe, at the end of the season, maybe Mayim will be available.
Maybe.
I will be stunned if they renew it for a third season.
Mm-hmm.
It's been green lighted for the second. If they renew it for a third season, I will be stunned.
Yeah.
And then maybe you've got Mayim Bialik as the permanent host.
Maybe.
Maybe. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows where this is
We
going to go?
we certainly proved that we don't know.
We don't know. You see, that's why we're not television exact. Maybe we should be.
I think we should be.
Maybe we should be because they kind of screwed this one up pretty good so far.
Well, we could do better.
But I think this is the last Jeopardy show that we're
Yeah, I
gonna
think
do.
we beat that
I
into the
think
ground.
we've about beaten this into the ground. So, but you can always write to us at Sonic Boomers at Proton Mail, Sonic Boomers at protonmail.com. And you can also write to us on Facebook. You can leave us a message like our friend Joe did and our friend Dennis did a few weeks ago at anchor.fm if you listen to the show on there. So there's a lot of ways that you can reach out to us. We're not playing hard to get. So reach out, for heaven's sake. All right, it is time now for our trivia question for the week. And you got yours for me picked out there?
I keep fluctuating, but yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. What 1973 TV event did thousands of viewers send questions in, hoping they'd be read on the air?
1973 TV event.
Play your music. Time's up.
Was it a presidential town meeting? Send your questions to the president?
Not really. You're in the ballpark.
Okay. I'm in the ballpark. I'm in the wrong seat.
Yeah, basically. Right church, wrong pew.
Yeah.
It was the Senate Watergate hearings.
Oh, okay. Okay. I never would have thought that. I really thought it was ask the president. You were having an open town meeting tonight.
Right.
Send a question in. Okay. All right, here we go. This one here, I think you're going to get. It's from the television category.
Okay.
And the question is, what musical game show did Red Benson, Bill Cullen, and George DeWitt host at various times.
I know
Your
this one.
time begins now.
I know this one. Shall I let the music play
Yeah,
out?
let the music play.
Build the suspense.
I've already got my finger on the winner button. Go ahead.
Name that tune.
That's right. It was Name That Tune. And how do you know that?
Because I had the Play at Home edition, which came with a 33 1/3 record with the tunes on it that you would play, and you played it like bingo. And in the beginning, it came on with, "Hello, I'm your host, George DeWitt. It's time to play Name That Tune.
Yeah.
Number 1 under the B."
I remember Name That Tune vaguely, and I remember George DeWitt. I did not know that Bill Cullen.
Well, they
hosted
did. They had that on and off, and different iterations of the show.
And Red Benson, I
don't even know who that
nothing
is.
about Red Benson.
But they did different versions of it. But with George DeWitt, I remember it was like a long, narrow set, and the people would be at the one end, and if they thought they knew it, they had to race down to the end and ring the bell. Like there was a bell with a rope on it,
Yeah.
and then they would ring it, and then they'd ask them to name that tune. So there was a little action with it. I think the Bill Cullen version was more like, podium desk kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this week's
All
edition
right.
of the Sonic Boomers podcast. Again, remember, write to us at sonicboomers@protonmail.com if you want to talk about Jeopardy or if you want to make suggestions for future shows.
And if you want to compliment me and trash Pete, go right ahead.
I'm not saying anything. We'll see you next week on the Sonic Boomers. Now,
Just kidding.
go out and make some noise.